Hey, welcome back to Benny Build Stuff, part 2 of the Mando blaster build. Let's just jump right into it. So I'm just clanking both the handles down together and using a file to make sure they're both consistent with each other. And I'm just tracing out the notch so that it fits properly on the gun. I did a lot of my shaping with Dremel and a sanding drum. Even though you can go through these pretty quick, it really does take off the most amount of material. Now this here is actually the outline of the handles so that it fits in snug, even though I'm gonna JB weld it on. I want it to have I want it to be recessed a little bit so that it's not going anywhere. Whenever you're epoxying stuff on, it's a good idea to just scuff everything up as much as you can just so that it has a lot of surface area and something to hold on to. While that's drying, I'm going to start working on the pewter pieces, just taking out any of the mold lines, smoothing them out, and shaping them so they'll fit the gun. I want to make sure to tape off this upper really well so that none of the metal shavings get into the internals, because this upper needs a fair bit of modification for it to fit the parts. I need to take off this top section and grind down the old sights so that this new rail that's on the Mando blaster fits. and we'll be taking off this sight right here to make room for the new muzzle. Now that we got a snug fit, I'm going to go back to working on the handle a little bit, just hogging off some of the material here. I'm jumping back a little bit here. You can see that the work on the handle isn't done yet. It just made more sense to lay out the video this way. We've got all our cast pewter pieces here ready to go on the gun. Again, just using JB Weld. I would have liked to weld this piece together, but I think just JB welding it, letting it dry, is going to be fine because it's going over the lower and it should be pretty solid. Now I want to make the actual fire selector functional. So there's something like that looks like a fire selector on the Mando blaster, but it is just a decorative piece. So I want to make it into a functional fire selector. The piece that I cast is a little bit too long, so I'm going to shorten it down a little bit and cast a new one. That way it'll clear the upper and actually move freely. So this is how I casted a few of the pieces, like the rail system that's on top of the gun. Basically just make an impression in kinetic sand and heat the pewter, pour it in, and you got your part. It's a lot less time consuming than making a mold for every single piece and kind of working out the trial and error with the molds. If you mess up in the sand casting, you just wash it off, throw it right back in your pot, and you can try again. Now eventually I'm going to actually tap the fire selector with like a threaded rod so that it has like a mechanical connection, but just JB welding it on should work for now. I'm going to be using magnets to select full auto and single fire so that it kind of just locks into place. It's pretty stable. You know, I shook it around a bunch. It's not really moving from where it's placed on the magnet, so it should work out fine. Now we're on to making the barrel cleaner, or whatever this brass accessory is on the side. Originally I was just gonna try casting everything out of pewter, but since it was just like a long cylindrical rod, it didn't really take too well. Same with the holder, the detail didn't come out very well, so I'm gonna actually make the whole thing out of brass. This is the back of an old clock that I'm using for the holder, an old Airsoft barrel, and just some brass bar stock. As you can see, it's raining out, so I wasn't really too keen on filming. I just kind of trying to show you the basics here of how I made the holder. So I just used a self-tapping screw to hold everything on. It's basically the same diameter as the model, so it should look fine. And I'm pretty happy with how the brass turned out. So here's the base primer coat that went on. And then I hit it with like a satin black, because I think that matches it really well. Only thing I really have left to do is weather it a little bit, kind of antique it up. But overall, I'm really happy how it turns out. We'll give you a little test fire here. So you can see here, this is the mag. It's CO2 powered. I think it holds 21, 22 BBs. Here we got our single fire. And here's our rapid fire. It's got pretty good grouping. It's not terribly accurate, but when you can shoot as fast as this does, you don't need to be. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching along. I had a great time building this, and I hope you had a great time watching it.